Hello, everybody. Welcome to 50/50 Booking. Obviously, Peter as normal. I always get that way. There we go. That way. You have Aaron. And Aaron, who, of course, is going to be fresh off of watching lots of wrestling this week. It's been a pay-per-view and, obviously, 3 shows, technically, because you had NXT as well, because I know you'd like to watch NXT. So,
yeah, I did actually have a little gander at AEW this week as well, and I didn't exactly like it.
The thing about this show is this is strictly WWE, so it's not something you're really going to talk about anyway, to be honest.
I just felt like swearing on the podcast. So.
If you want to swear on the podcast, say Mrs. WWE Champion. There you go. Oh, no, it's definitely worth swearing about if you actually give a crap. Because it's 10 years ago.
I mean, I swear to tell the tooth, the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth, just like Oscar this week on Raw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get onto her first, actually, because obviously her match got pulled from the chamber. Guess why?
Yeah. And then just to, kind of add insult to injury, she loses a tooth on the following Monday. Ouch. Bad week to be Oscar.
Yeah, very much so. Well, apparently good week to be Nia Jax, but we'll get onto that when we get to her match. But yeah, the women's Raw titles match was replaced by a tag team match.
Yes.
Which we will get to, but we're going to do these in order, so that's a way off yet. So we will start with the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, I believe was first. Actually, no, there was a pre-show match. We should probably do that because it does actually relate to the same place in the card. Basically, as I mentioned before to you on the last show we did, there was a chance Keith Lee wasn't going to be able to make the pay-per-view, and that turned out to be what happened. He wasn't able to compete, so they had to set up a fatal 4-way match to find a replacement to essentially take the pin.
And not being funny, the fatal 4-way match at the kickoff show was probably one of the best matches from the whole Elimination Chamber. Not gonna lie.
Well, considering who was in it, I'm not that surprised. Let's be honest, because obviously for those of you who didn't see it, you had Elias,
Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, Mustafa Ali. You had Ricochet, and you had John Morrison. Not a bad lineup, really.
No, I mean, if you look at all of their kind of lucha backgrounds, if you excuse Elias on that one, and the high flying kind of side of things as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're pretty much a WWE guy, but at least 2 of those guys have Lucha Underground experience, that being Ricochet and Morrison.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I wasn't sure whether or not I could.
you can reference it, absolutely, because it's relevant to what we're talking about. So, because obviously it's the same thing on High Spots. I don't want High Spots referencing WWE unless it's relevant to what we're talking about. Otherwise, I don't want people just taking pot shots at all the other companies because I think that's a bit tasteless. It's basically Twitter.
Oh yeah, if you want to be Twitter, just be a T-bar. Reference T-bar as much as possible.
I don't want to be Twitter ever. Twitter's full of hateful, toxic people. That's not for me, I'm afraid. So there's too many hateful things about Disney firing people and then which promotion's better. I'd rather just not go on it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's my opinion of Twitter, but that's not what we're talking about. We need to go on to this fatal 4-way. And obviously the winner of this match went on to replace Keith Lee in the US title match, which is still a triple threat. Mm-hmm. I wondered if there was a case for making the United States Championship match possibly a 4-way and have 2 of these guys possibly just be put into that match.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been happy with that, but the way it ended kind of made me laugh. I did enjoy the end of the match.
Yeah, there is certainly that. But obviously, bear in mind who won. You can see why they won because, yeah.
Yeah. Not much else you could say, really.
Yeah. Obviously, for those of you who didn't see it or haven't seen any subsequent stuff, we should probably explain it was John Morrison won.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not much of a surprise to be perfectly honest.
No.
Do you know the thing? Sorry, go on, Aaron.
What confused me the most was that John Morrison did win that, and John Morrison got pinned later on in the night, and then we had the new champion. But then on Raw on Monday, he fought Riddle again, and just like, use the reason Bobby Lashley lost his title, and now you're getting another like match with the new United States Championship. I was just a bit confused. I was like, why have they done this? Like,
yeah, title of this program of our show. Yeah,
50,
that's
50,
why.
50.
Basically, it's one of the reasons the show is called it, because it goes on a lot in wrestling, but particularly in WWE. And yeah, but the funny part about it, I mean, you mentioned obviously you took the pin in the US title match, which is exactly why, in a way, I was happy that he was the one that won that 4-way, because I don't really want any of the other 3 taking pins, because I think 2 of them are particularly really gifted, and the other one is just damn entertaining. Morrison's been around for so long, he can take that sort of loss and it won't be an issue for him. I think it would have been a big problem for the other 3.
Yeah, it won't affect his like momentum. It won't like disgrace like the legacy that he's trying to leave behind, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, basically, the way his career is in WWE, it will have no impact on him whatsoever.
No, none at all.
So, which is okay, because it's good to have wrestlers that are like that. But at the same time, well, when we get to the Miz, we'll go a bit more into that, because obviously they're quite related together. So, yeah.
I thought I'd fallen asleep and I dreamed the last 5 minutes of Elimination Chamber, and I was just thinking, wake up, wake up, wake up.
What's really worse is those of us who remember Miz's first title reign were like, oh, look, it's 10 years ago. We've discovered time travel, because he gave the same bloody promo afterwards that he gave 10 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Or in this case,
but that's not a good thing in this case. Yeah.
I got hit with like a brief spell with deja vu, or I got like on Monday. I was just like, I've heard this before. I've heard this before.
Right.
Why?
In some cases, it's great not to break something that's not broken. But in this case, it needs breaking, because it's been 10 years. And here's the thing about The Miz, before we do get to the chamber match. In the past year, he's won 3 matches, and he's been booked like crap. He spent most of that time with Morrison as a tag team. How is he a strong champion? And why do people think it's a good idea? Because believe it or not, there's a divided opinion about people actually liking this, and people who are in my camp, which is where I stand, where no.
Yeah, me. I'll join your camp. Like, you got room for one more,
Right?
I mean, like the fact that they took the money in the bank briefcase off of Otis in the first place, I wasn't exactly happy about that, but I could see why they did it. But
they caused that to happen in the first place. That was their own dumb nuts booking.
Yeah, but at the same time, the way Otis is at the moment, especially this week on SmackDown, like after Rey Mysterio's squashing defeat, yeah, I could see him going for like an actual title at the end of this kind of new storyline that he's going along, especially with Chad Gable in his corner. Whether or not it's a tag title, it doesn't matter, because if he's doing things off of the second rope like that, I could see him being an Intercontinental Champion at some point.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up getting somewhere at some point, but he does need to start working a bit safer, because he is quite dangerous as a worker, particularly with certain moves he does. You can tell that by looking at the wrestlers. I mean, Dominic Mysterio, the minute Otis got there, he wanted to tag his dad, which kind of told you everything.
Yeah. Not to mention the actual like way you saw him bounce off of Mysterio's body in the slow-mo. You're just like, yeah, Mysterio really took all of that, didn't he? I was surprised they didn't have to come and get a spatula and scoop him off the mat.
Yeah, and he thought Brock Lesnar was the worst thing he'd ever encountered. No. Sorry, no, it is worse because Brock actually, for all of his faults, is safe.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
It's very rare that you get injured wrestling Brock. Brock might injure himself, but he's not like to injure you. I speak of his match against Kurt Angle.
Unless he's been given the green for blood, of course, in which case the gloves come off and the knuckles start to dig into part of your face.
Yeah, there is that.
Or the top of your head.
Yeah,
in Roman's case.
He is more likely to hurt himself though, because WrestleMania 19 or 20, I can't remember which one it is. He nearly
shooting star
broke his neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's more likely to hurt himself.
Cringed at it.
Yeah. And for a little side note to anyone who is interested in that match, there is a Kurt Angle podcast which came out a couple of weeks ago where he talks about that match in depth. Yep. So it's probably worth listening to because he's got some interesting insights into that match. But anyway, back to what we should be talking about because it's amazing how we managed to veer off the four-way match going on to the chamber match by going through everything else. But of course, that's the problem with everything being connected as it is in the show because a lot of it is. But let's get on to the SmackDown chamber match, which I thought was a great match.
Yeah, I agree. It was. It was amazing, great, everything you want an Elimination Chamber match to be, but pointless.
Yeah.
I like the way that WWE gave us that tiny little glimmer of hope in the first 15 seconds of the matchup just to see Roman Reigns break this unbreakable yes lock and beat Daniel Bryan to crap. It was like, thank you for squashing all of our hopes and dreams. And now we've got the Fastlane match, which is may or may not be happening, apparently.
Well, there's a cage match with Jey Uso. It's been announced for next, not the SmackDown we're going to talk about, the next SmackDown, but we'll get on to obviously related to that. So, but obviously, as you guys may have worked out, Daniel Bryan won the chamber match. We should probably mention who actually won it before immediately having to fight Roman. Which is saying I
was really happy
on the last show.
Yeah, okay, you won that one.
So
you wanted Cesaro. You chose Cesaro to win it though.
I wanted Cesaro to win, absolutely. I'm not disappointed that Daniel won, but I'm also not surprised that that happened with Roman. So I was perfect. So basically 50-50, which works for the show.
I did like on SmackDown how Bryan kind of raised the point that he was in the second show of the match and not the main event of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I thought that was really clever writing for them on SmackDown's point.
Well, look at it this way. At least it was in the main event, which technically was The Miz.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been worse, let's face it.
Exactly. He could have been Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. Just stick him in a bag of fertilizer first so he grows a couple of foot taller. And then, maybe.
It still might take a bit. But as we obviously touched on, the SmackDown Chamber match was definitely the better of the two chamber matches. I mean, we'll get onto the other one as well.
Without that.
And the problem being the other one actually had more significance to it than this one did. But you got to see some very good people here. You got to see Cesaro, you got to see Daniel Bryan, Jey Uso. They all put in a fair shift. I mean, Sami Zayn as well. Even Baron Corbin, well, King Corbin, surprisingly, he did his part in that match because he did what he was meant to do.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not.
He did,
What he did in that match was important because you can't have a match like that be always hell for leather because either somebody's going to get very hurt or the match will go half the time it was meant to. Because they're just going to out of pace, which is why you need somebody like a Corbin to bring it down.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually pleasantly surprised at his performance in the chamber, to be honest, because we were talking last week about how he's a Golden Gloves boxer and how he doesn't throw any punches. In the chamber, he actually got his chance. You saw him throw a few right hands and left hands. I was just like, oh, this is good. This is different.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see him do more of that. But I think it's also the King gimmick he's got going on. I think kind of makes him not do that, and I think that gimmick is hurting him.
Yeah, the sooner he for a crown gimmick, then the better.
So,
Because
and
like I can see him like being like the bare knuckle brawler, wanting to be in more cage matches because it's got like the bare fighting like kind of section to it. I mean, bring the fight pit to a Friday Night SmackDown and let the King reign the fight pit. Let him have his knuckles or something.
I wonder if they managed to keep Cutler and Wesley, I think it is, with him, whether that might have happened anyway, because the way that was going.
I don't know, because I haven't heard anything on the WWE side of things about Cutler and like.
Well, Cutler got released.
Did he? I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah. Yeah, he got released basically because apparently he got COVID, recovered from it, and he'd had heat because he got COVID.
Wow.
And then they released him basically. So Wesley's still there as far as I know, but Cutler got released.
Wow.
So yeah, which is why you've not seen them with Corbin basically.
So kind of out of the frying pan and into the fire for those two.
Yeah, I mean they're not had the best of luck.
I mean, I haven't seen Jackson Riker either with Elias.
Apparently, he's still got a job though. How long that will last, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I kind of like the Elias and Riker thing.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't want anyone actually losing their job because that's not a nice thing to wish on anybody. But
no.
It's a case of you can understand why people are upset with him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have my opinions, but nobody cares what those are. Not about that anyway. they're here, obviously people are here about the wrestling stuff, which is why we're talking about it. But yeah, all good. But obviously Corbin was the first one out, from what I remember. Then it was Zayn, Owens, Cesaro, and Jay was the last one.
I did like the way they really done, like Kevin Owens really took some hits before he was eliminated. Just like Jimmy never took no prisoners when it came to getting him out of the chamber match. I mean, I had to grab my own arm when he had it shut in the chamber door. I was like, ouch.
Yeah, the thing about stuff like that is sometimes it makes you react more when it's something you personally can relate to, because either you've had something similar or you've done the same thing at some point.
Yeah.
So you can understand the pain more, so it's more like, oh, I remember
that. For people who don't know me personally, I got shoved through a wooden door frame in secondary school and smashed the growth plate in my right elbow. So, like, any arm injury or something like that in WWE really makes me squirm.
Well, there you go. So it just goes to show you. But I thought they all put in good performances for obviously the roles they had in that match. Then, of course, Daniel won, celebrating. Out comes Roman. And basically, Daniel gets his move on. Roman breaks the move. Roman gets him in the... Oh, what is it? What does he call it? There you go. It's it's an elevated front choke, basically. But yeah, it's a guillotine.
Yeah, I will give like credit to it, like that tiny little sample of hope WWE gave us. Like, I could see Roman was going to go for the spear, and I thought, oh yeah, it's going to be spear. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. But the fact that he went for the spear and Daniel managed to get his move on him, I was actually quite happy that they included that into the match, even though it only lasted 5 minutes. Because even though Daniel was going to lose that match regardless, you at least got to see how good he is in the ring with his technique. Because the way he floated into the yes lock from the spear situation, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
and really good workmanship.
The problem with a match that short is it's very much designed to only put over Roman.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, it worked a charm.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what that was meant to do. But there's an argument of, well, then why was it Bryan?
Oh, because, well, it's Daniel Bryan, isn't it?
Yeah, but there are other people who could have taken that just as well. But it is what it is. But obviously, it's moved on to Daniel possibly getting a match at Fastlane, which we will touch upon when we get to SmackDown. So there is an upside to that, of course. And was this the Edge bit?
Yes.
Yes. Right. So we get Edge. Oh, I wonder who Edge is picking to fight at WrestleMania.
I was smiling ear to ear at Edge's spear on Roman because I was just like, oh, thank fuck for that. We don't have to keep on talking about it. We know that's going to happen now. But now with the Fastlane thing, I just like, I'm like, well, is it going to be a triple threat at Mania now, or is there just going to be?
Well, Edge has the position of, regardless of anything else, he is fighting the champion at WrestleMania.
Yeah, the Universal Champion. Whether or not that's Bryan or Roman. Right. Or it could be Roman and then it could be a triple threat match at WrestleMania. The WWE do like to do triple threats.
Yeah. I would say it's probably going to be the main event, but obviously WrestleMania is 2 days this year, so there's always a chance it won't be, depending which night it's on.
I think that if Bryan gets this match at Fastlane, Bryan loses at Fastlane and then says he wants another shot at WrestleMania and turns around and says to Roman, I'll put my career on the line if you add me to the match with Edge. And then he loses and that's the end of Daniel Bryan in WWE.
Oh,
at least on TV.
Right. So basically you're going with he's going to do Christian's gimmick of one more match.
Yeah. Basically. That's because I don't have much faith in WWE's writing. So, yeah, I think they're just going to use something old and stale.
Yes, we did touch upon creative on the last episode for anyone who didn't see it. So obviously you guys can check that out. So, yeah, let's just say we have a very low
opinion. Is what it is.
Yes. I at least have a very low opinion. Aaron's maybe slightly higher. I don't know. I don't think it's that much higher.
I think minimalistically higher, but I'd say like a grain of sand in it, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Cool. Let's see. Obviously, after the Roman match, we now have the US title match, the triple threat, which, considering what happened, I think it's a good job Keith Lee was not in this match.
Yeah.
Because there is no way he should be taking the pin in this match.
No.
And bear in mind what happened later in the card, you understand why they didn't want to pin Lashley.
Yeah.
And obviously why, as you've probably all guessed by now, Riddle won the match.
Yeah. And let's face it, nobody can see Riddle pinning Keith Lee and believing it happening, especially with how they're putting Keith Lee over recently.
Well, the ironic thing being is if it was a real fight, Keith Lee could Riddle could literally kill Keith Lee, and I'm not joking.
No, I know.
Lashley, they're both trained MMA fighters. They could beat the living crap out of it. They'd also have a fair crap at kicking the crap out of each other too.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I'd find that kind of.
I'd pay to see that match.
Yeah.
I'd pay to see that match in the Octagon.
How about we could throw Lesnar in there and have them all do an MMA match?
Oh, have you heard about Triple H's outreach to Conor McGregor? Throw him in there too. That'd be fun. Yeah, I mean that was my faults exactly. My kind of reaction when I heard about the Conor McGregor thing and Triple H. But yeah, that'd be. I don't know what Hunter's thinking there.
Well, I have suspicions as to who Triple H is fighting at Mania, but we'll get to that later on if we're going to touch upon stuff like that. So, but as far as Conor McGregor goes, I'm not a fan.
The Irishman in me likes him, but the rest of me doesn't.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, there's nothing wrong with anyone liking him. It's just my personal opinion. For what it's worth, it's not that he's done anything bad or anything wrong. I just don't like him for some reason. I've watched him once. I was like, So yeah, I think it's one of those. But obviously, Riddle's now the US champion, so obviously he's got his belt, and God knows what he's going to do with that, bro.
I think it's going to be Bro Derek.
Yeah. Do you think maybe he's going to like grow up the belt and like customize it and have bro on it somewhere?
Oh my god! If he does an NWO thing with black spray paint, I'd just.
Well, they always have those customized plates at the sides of the belts for champions, so he's probably going to have something like that on those plates. Obviously,
I mean, he didn't have anything like that on the plates on Monday.
Yeah, but they don't always have those custom plates ready in time, which is the other thing.
Oh, that's also, Shayna takes you back to the Shayna Baszler story where she didn't have her plates for like 3 months.
Yeah, it does happen. So, but in Riddle's case, I don't suppose they could put spliffs on it, so they're probably going to think something else.
There is that. Or just have a horse wearing a baseball cap. That's what his NXT logo was.
You mean his self-portrait?
Yeah.
Yeah, self-portrait, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyone who doesn't get that reference, you'll need to go and look it up. So I'm not explaining it.
We'd be here all night.
Yeah. So obviously this is why Morrison was added to this match. Literally was to take the pin. Because Lashley has a much more important role later on in the show and also going forward. Riddle... pretty much left Riddle the only one who could really take the belt. I mean, possibly, I think if Keith Lee had been in the match, then maybe Keith Lee had won instead of Riddle. You don't know.
No.
But with the people that are available, then, yeah, it's probably the best thing they could have done. It was an okay match, but, you know.
I wouldn't... I don't know. I liked it, but I didn't.
Yeah, I think it was kind of like, it's sort of like in the middle somewhere. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't.
It was level footing.
Yeah. It was nowhere near as good as the Chamber match, for example.
Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that Riddle has the belt, because I know Lashley's capable of better things. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know, I don't like the way that he got the belt. I would have preferred him to, tap out Lashley with the Bro Mission or something like that. To actually pin the champion, it just doesn't seem the right way to go about it for him.
But the way WWE's booking works, considering what Lashley's doing now, they would not have wanted him to have taken that hit.
No.
So
it did make sense, yeah.
Yeah. I understand your opinion, and I think pretty much I would probably agree with you, because I think Lashley could have taken the hit anyway, because it's not like Riddle hasn't beaten Lashley already, because he has.
Yeah, because it's like, even though it was a bit sneaky on the tactical kind of side, but he did beat him, yeah.
Well, that's it. They could have just done something similar. You know, a sneaky, quick thing where it could have happened to anybody. Lashley could take a hit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it wouldn't have affected what happened later.
I think it would have increased the whole rage side of things. He would have been so angry that he'd have gone after McIntyre anyway. Right, and you wouldn't have had to see MVP and Miz talking in the background halfway through the show.
Yeah, it fuels the anger aspect. So yeah, it makes sense. But that particular thing you just mentioned made sense as well, because obviously not everyone would understand that. So you need to kind of give them the subtle little hint. There's probably something going on here because these two have been seen talking to each other.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that just kind of told you what was going to happen. When you saw that, you're just like, oh, okay, well, that's going to happen then.
Yeah. From a strictly storyline point of view, it's a smart thing for Miz to have done is to get Lashley.
Mm-hmm. But not so smart if he wanted a lengthy title reign.
Well,
I'm interested to find out what's going to happen on Monday.
Yeah, he probably thinks he can weasel his way out of it, honestly.
I just want to see him get absolutely crushed. No gonna lie.
When it comes to that match, I have a prediction, but we'll get to that when we get to Raw. So, let's see. So where are we up to? Oh yes, the women's tag title match. Yeah, that's pretty much the best. Yeah, right. And this is the bit of this where you really wonder about WWE booking, right? They pinned the women's champion in a tag match.
Yep.
Right. Then the very next night, he alluded to earlier, the same person pinned the Raw Women's Champion.
Yep.
How to make your singles champions feel important. Yeah, it's crap.
Yeah.
And that's the best word I can use for it.
It's kind of like Vince's sympathy when it comes to Stephanie McMahon's charity work. Oh, how Dad, can I put on the TV about Girl Up? Yeah, sure. You've got a 30-second ad break. Go. It's like, okay, but nobody watches the adverts. That's all right. I'm sure in a couple of weeks you'll get another one.
Yeah, well, all I can say is my hole.
And that's a whole lot more said than not.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bianca did all right. Shayna did all right. They normally do. They're both competent and skilled wrestlers. I mean, Shayna obviously being ex-MMA. It's fundamentally sound anyway.
Yeah.
So the only thing with Baszler, unlike Bianca, but we'll get to that in a minute, is Baszler's character needs work because obviously, as a professional wrestler, you need a different way to do a character than you do as an MMA fighter. I'm an MMA fighter. I want to fight Baszler. Jesus, she'd kill me. But as a wrestler, you look at her and you think, oh, I can beat you. You're a joke.
I mean, if you look at Baszler's work on main roster and then you compare it to her previous on NXT, she had a lot more mic work in NXT, whereas now in a tag team with Nia just seems to be a bit of a mouthpiece for that tag team. And you're not getting Shayna's intimidation or Queen of Spades gimmick that she had from NXT. And it's kind of disheartening for the Baszler fans.
Yes, but this is the thing people should be used to by now when it comes to WWE when they bring up people from NXT. You don't keep your character.
No, but that's Vince's doing. We all know that.
Best example of this, Bobby Roode.
Or even better example, Aleister Black.
No, he managed to keep his character for a while before they did start dicking with it.
Did he, though?
Yeah, he did.
No, I don't know. Because he was a lot more dark and mysterious in NXT.
Yes, but bear in mind, between when he started on the main roster and where he is now.
What, on the side of a milk carton?
Oh, we know where he is. He's in catering, along with Buddy Murphy and Bo Dallas.
Oh, that, and constantly liking everything WWE posts on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, well, and not being able to mention his wife.
Oh, and selling his merch.
So I will mention his wife. Fia.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you should get a top made Thea's #1 fan and just wear that for the podcast.
No, here's the thing. I'm not, but I think their treatment of her was disgusting.
Yeah,
and that should tell anyone anything you ever need to know. Because I was never a Selena Vega fan. I did not like the character. I did not like what she did. But I don't care who you are. You don't treat people like that. That was disgraceful.
Yeah, it was.
So I say good luck to Fia, and I hope she is doing well with her Twitch, because I imagine she is. And whatever comes to her way in the future, because her no compete just expired as well. So we'll see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, she's talking obviously as to Black being missing. But yeah, the main thing, obviously, going back to characters, because you have that. But then you've got Bianca, who's still very much her character. Apart from the fact she was kept off TV for about 8 months.
Yeah.
And
she went MIA and then came back, and it was just like, oh wow, we was expected a completely different character, but you're still the whole thing. Because I've heard that Vince actually really likes the whole EST thing. He's totally on board with that. He likes it and how original it is, but.
The problem with that is Vince is hiring a lot of people, and a lot of them have actually been fired. So I wouldn't hold your breath on that. I just talked about one, which was Zelina Vega.
Yep.
So, but yeah, she's pretty much seems to have come through normal at present. So we'll see if she can maintain that, or whether she'll end up getting the Aleister Black treatment.
Wow, is that what we're calling it now?
I'm calling it now. Or even the Shayna Baszler treatment, if you like. Or the Bobby Roode treatment, the EC3 treatment. You know, there's a load
Bo
of
Dallas treatment.
Nakamura. There's a lot of ones I can throw here.
I don't know. Nakamura's been getting a lot more screen time lately.
Yeah, but up until recently, bear in mind what his career in the main roster has been like, pretty much. Right. Hence the reason he's including that list. Yes, he's been getting more stuff lately, but again, we'll see how long that lasts. He also wasn't on the pay-per-view either. Bear that in mind.
I mean, I do really like the way that WWE thinks that the way to turn a Japanese superstar back to face is to take the lyrics out of his entrance music.
I actually like the lyrics to that song, but you know, that's just me. But mind you, I like both versions of that song. So
yeah, but what I meant was like, so when he's heel, he's gonna have lyrics in that music, but when he's face, he isn't. It's like,
I actually get that, and I'll explain why. Obviously, people used to sing along to that song when it didn't have lyrics the first time. So, as he turned heel, the best way to stop people singing along to the song was to put the lyrics in, so you just couldn't go. Once you put the lyrics in, they changed the theme of how the song goes, so you can't do that anymore. It doesn't make sense. So I get why they did it. I think it was stupid for that reason. But it did give them a legitimate reason to be, oh look, he's a heel now. He's people can't sing his song anymore. He doesn't want them doing it.
I mean, it did give him that extra edge when it came to his entrance as well.
Yeah. Well, again, there's somebody who was much better in New Japan, Chaos. But again, it's the same thing you wouldn't have seen. So.
No, I mean, I said it before. I say it again. The only person I followed on the independent circuit was Tommy End because I liked his whole persona.
Okay.
And then he came to WWE and.
Okay, New Japan is not an independent. New Japan is a big company, right? But here's the thing about that. He fought AJ Styles at New Japan's big event one year, right? And that match is significantly better than the travesty we got at the WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So this is the reason. This is the reason I refer to it. So, as I said before, not particularly want to mention outside promotions or stuff on this channel, on this program, but it relates to what I'm explaining. So that's the reason why.
So, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So, but obviously, I think Nakamura can do much better than what he's doing. But at the same time, he was in that company a long time, and that company is a much harder style. So he probably prefers not having to go like that anymore because WWE is a much easier style for him. Plus, he doesn't wrestle all the time, so he gets to go surfing, which is his other passion. So I think that probably helps him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I still think he should have been on the pay-per-view. I don't know why he wasn't.
No idea.
So, I'm sure there was a reason, but God knows why. But obviously, yeah, Nia and Baszler won the tag match. Shock.
Yeah,
which fair. Aaron predicted that. So there you go. Nia pins Banks. Oh gee, wow. Way to make your champion look strong.
Yep.
Yeah, it's no. What I don't understand is why you just wouldn't have like a double count out or DQ or something, because that way nobody gets damaged by that. But
yeah, but of course WWE that just goes.
Yeah, it's more of a case of, oh no, we want our tag champions to look strong because they've got like a tag title defense coming up on NXT. Is it this week coming or is it the following week? Because they've got their face in Gonzalez and what's her face?
Yeah, they are.
Is it Kai? Dakota Kai?
Yeah, Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. But it's a shame to hear about the tag title match not happening this week between MSK and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan. because of a broken hand. So, ouch.
Yeah, that stuff's never fun. But hopefully, heals quickly because that's not fun.
I mean, I think the actual thing, the thing that was supposed to be happening, because the Grizzled Young Veterans attacked MSK backstage. They were supposed to get an injury, but it wasn't supposed to be a real one.
It can happen. I mean, people forget this about wrestling. It may be scripted, but people still get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, he ended up with a broken hand. So the tag team championship match between MSK and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch is not happening this week. But GYV cut a promo about how they want the championship match instead. Which I was just like, okay, well, fair enough. You broke the guy's hand, but you lost the tournament in the Dusty Cup. So,
I suppose the argument there is, if the finalists aren't there to have the match, then maybe we should get it. That's possibly the logic, but again, it makes no sense to me either. But I'm guessing that's the thing. And they're like, well, we took out the guys you should have faced, and they shouldn't have beaten us. Maybe that's the kind of thing they're going for.
Yeah, and then if they win the titles off of Oney and Burch, you could see that MSK come back and fight for a bit of revenge or something. I mean, storyline wise, it could happen, but I don't know. I don't think a lot of people would be happy about it, especially with MSK being so fresh in the company and having such a good skill set.
Yeah, well, it's.
I mean, the matches have been incredible so far.
Cool. Yeah, we still just need to finish for the chamber, so we've just got the last bit to do, and then we will get on to the other stuff. So, this is the WWE. It's all right. It's all right. It was easiest to let you go there because now it's covered, so it's less than we have to do later anyway. Because it's something we still would have covered anyway. So It's not like it wasn't related to what we're going to be discussing. WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, and Sheamus. Like most of the people in this match. But it was bloody obvious who was winning.
Yeah. I mean, you knew McIntyre wasn't coming in last because obviously Sheamus had got that, but you knew Vince was gonna put him as close to last as possible to preserve his little golden boy. Yeah,
and that's also, you may have noticed, the last person eliminated in the match. Do you remember where it was?
AJ Styles, wasn't it?
It was, and I don't think that's an accident, but that comes on site and we're going to discuss once we finish talking about the chamber match. But yeah, AJ was last. As Randy Orton was coming out for this match, I don't know if you heard this or not, he was being shouted at by Kofi Kingston saying, I love your calf muscles, I love your quads, they look so nice, and they're really well oiled. Did you hear this?
Yeah. I heard it. I was watching it and I just started laughing. I was just like, Kofi, what are you doing? Why are you trying to hit on a married man?
I'm pretty sure he was just trying to pop him because Randy Orton is notoriously bad at being popped.
It's like, good for Randy not popping, but at the same time, what the hell, Kofi? I bet Vince wasn't happy about that, but I could have. Oh my god, I couldn't stop laughing. I was just like, wow.
Oh no,
Kofi strikes again.
To be fair, Vince probably thought, oh, that's such good shit.
He's probably got the audio recorded and put it on a CD somewhere, so that way when he gets home, if he needs cheering up, he just have that on repeat for like a good 15 minutes.
Randy or Vince? You better clarify.
He comes over, they like to keep the 2 meter rule and just listen to Kofi commenting on Randy's quads for 15 minutes.
Well, here's the thing, though. Can you imagine Vince listening to his office and then walks Triple H? He's like, oh, I'll come back later, Dad.
Dad, what have I told you to do this? What have I told you about doing this with the curtains wide open?
But the thing is as well, obviously wrestling is a entertainment sport, but sometimes people do forget you should have fun with it, and I think Kofi does like to have fun with it, and good for him.
Yeah.
So I do like to be entertained occasionally. It is fun. I like the wrestling, but I like being good entertained, and Kofi's very good at that.
There was no Fiend or Alexa input in the Chamber match either.
We were going to touch
I
upon
was
that.
really surprised and really disappointed.
Yep.
And then on Raw, there was barely anything too, except for Randy choking on a load of.
We will get to that. I have things about that.
All the things they could have done in the Chamber with that, and they did naffle and decided to make him pretend to be choking on protoplasm, I'm guessing.
Okay, okay. Obviously, you've mentioned it, so I'll touch upon it now. Basically, they recycled the Ultimate Warrior versus Papa Shango from 1992.
Yes.
That's essentially what that was. Essentially, he's throwing up tar.
I'm surprised the WWE Network haven't done one of those split things where it's split right down the middle, and on one side you got Papa Shango or the Ultimate Warrior coughing up black stuff, and then you've got on the other side Randy Orton coughing up the black stuff. Right. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done that on their Instagram page. Oh, we've seen this before.
Oh, I'm not surprised because I don't want to draw attention to the fact it's something that's happened before.
Yeah, but I was surprised nobody's pointed it out and done exactly the same thing. I mean, if I had the skill and the know-how to do that, I'd have done it by now.
I know a few people who pointed this out. So, I mean, I noticed it because I remembered that feud because it's in my peak WWE watching. Because literally, when I moved into a house down in Kent when I lived there in 1992, the first thing I saw was SummerSlam 92, and that feud was right around that time.
Yeah.
So I saw it. So, which is when I regularly got to watch WWE essentially was them because that's what was on them. But yes, that led up to that and eventually other stuff. But again, those things aren't related to this show, so there's not going to talk about those.
I mean, I like the storyline that's happening at the moment on Raw, but at the same time, using stuff like that when they could have done stuff in the Chamber just angered me. Like, really, really annoyed me.
The thing is, though, considering what happened after what happened in the Chamber, I think they probably didn't want to do too much in the Chamber, maybe.
I understand what you're saying, but it would have been happening halfway through the Chamber, so I feel like it would have all been gotten out of the way in time for the end of the match. And what happened with Lashley and stuff. So I feel like there was enough time, but WWE just didn't use the time that they could have used.
The other risk you have is you could possibly take people out of the match, depending on what it was. That they did with Randy Orton, I mean, in The Fiend.
Yeah, no, but still salty about it.
Oh, I don't think you're wrong. I think you probably have a point, but I'm just trying to think of reasons why maybe it didn't happen.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, Bray Wyatt's got a clean bill of health. He's got nothing wrong with him. Like, there's been no COVID alert or anything.
What do you mean? He got burnt to death by Randy Orton. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the pork was really convincing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that's what Bo Dallas was doing backstage.
I mean, it would freed a chair and catering, wouldn't
it? That's a hell of a way to future endeavour someone.
I mean, he'd take a bump for his brother, surely.
I think he probably has at one point or another. Yeah, I think anyone who's watching this program probably knows they're related.
I'd like to think so.
Although the funniest part is when you tell people that Bray Wyatt's is actually related to IRS. That's the fun one.
Oh yeah.
And traditional fans would also know that his uncle is Barry Windham and his grandfather's Blackjack Mulligan. which makes it even funnier.
It's like, oh, God, could you imagine the rebounds on Ancestry.com if you typed in Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas's name? Like, oh, God.
Yeah. Wyndham Rotundo. That's Bray's, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know. And Bose. I can't remember what Bose is actually, but it's obviously Wyndham. Taylor. There you go. Taylor Wyndham.
Yeah.
See, I know to remember it. But yeah, they type it in.
Bo's name's a lot more normal compared to Bray's. And I'm just like, okay, what happened to Bray's? Yeah.
Barry Wyndham. Him and his dad were tag partners. In fact, they won tag titles together in various promotions. And they were very close. So I'm guessing that's why.
Probably.
Also, Black Jack Mulligan.
Oh, yeah, big name there.
So, whose real name, of course, is Wyndham. So, there is that.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe that's why. Because obviously, Rotunda's wife would have been Barry's sister. So,
keeping it in the family?
There's a lot of that in wrestling. A lot of wrestling families are connected like that.
Yeah.
So, but that one.
I mean, once one wrestling family marries into another wrestling family as well. I mean,
well, it relates actually to obviously the Samoans, obviously because they were on this pay-per-view we're talking about. Literally, the only one who's not related to him is Joe.
Yeah.
The rest of them all related to each other in one fashion or another.
Yeah.
Well, but I think Joe's quite happy about that.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't be? Could you imagine family dinners at Christmas and stuff?
I'm buying presents.
God, could you imagine if you got the wrong size?
Ooh. That'd be worse if Yoko Zuna was still with us, but Jesus.
Sheesh.
Awkward. It'd be hard enough to find stuff for Rikishi.
Too cool. Never mind.
Yeah, only one of them is still with us, so.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's in WWE. He, in fact, is a trainer, I believe, in the Performance Center.
Yeah.
So, for anyone who wants to know, that's Scott Taylor, which is Scotty Too Hotty. Right. Obviously, we mentioned Drew won the Chamber. Then, this is what we mentioned about Lashley. Lashley came out and beat the hell out of Drew. At least this is good for Lashley.
I did like the way that they wrote the kind of like. I did like the way they wrote it, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, as soon as you saw Miz talking to MVP, you knew it was going to happen. But I'm glad it was just Lashley and not the whole Hurt Business, because if they'd have done the whole Hurt Business, it would have been a whole overkill thing. And that way, the Raw Tag Team Championships, like the Raw Tag Team Champions, didn't have to get involved, and there's not going to be any six-man tag team matches, including Bobby Lashley and The Miz and John Morrison and somebody else that they just drag into it for the sake of it, like WWE tends to do. But I still don't like the fact that Miz is WWE champion, and it's been a week.
Yeah, and obviously that's what that led to. Miz cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, which he should have lost and shouldn't have had anyway. On Drew, 30-second match, skull-crushing finale, Miz wins, is the champion. However, this leads on to Monday Night Raw, where now, surprise, surprise, we discover he's now got to fight Lashley. Good luck, Miz. Really?
I just want him to get crushed. I've been waiting for a match like this for ages. I thought like it was going to happen with Miz versus Braun Strowman, but then it just seemed to go flat. And then now that he's got to face Lashley one-on-one for a championship, I'll just be like, yes, please, Lashley. Just I understand like the Miz is like a nice guy and everything outside of like WWE and stuff, but please just crush him, just destroy him like he needs to be. Don't like fizzle out of this. Like, please don't.
Yeah, it's a very popular opinion is people wanting Miz to get destroyed in this match. As you rightly point out, in real life, apparently Miz is a great guy, does stuff for charity. Apparently, he's a really stand-up guy, but his wrestling character, the way it's portrayed, is basically you want Lashley to annihilate him. But I think you may have a bit of an issue here because I think you're not going to like what I'm going to say now because I think it's what they're going to do. Do you notice how there was no Drew this week on Raw?
Mm-hmm.
Guess who's interfering in the match?
Yeah.
And guess who's going to get qualified?
Sort of saw that coming. But I will say this: the last thing I want to happen is us to get Miz and Randy Orton's feud from 10 years ago repeated with Miz and Lashley, because I will just encase myself in food and all types of crap just to get over my feelings of it, because I'll be so fucking bored by the end of the storyline. I will just skip all matches to do with the WWE Championship.
To be fair,
because
you've already lasted longer than me. You wouldn't last any longer than me. The minute he won the match, I was like, oh, I don't care.
No.
The minute he pinned Drew, don't care. Really don't. I would be happy to see Lashley get a shot because I think Lashley's probably one of the only people who's never been a proper world champion, and I think he deserves.
He really deserves it, and like I'm glad that he's in this situation, but I just don't want Randy and Miz's feud to become Miz and Lashley's feud.
Well, I hope not. But
I just want Lashley to absolutely obliterate the Miz.
Yeah, but
no interference.
Yeah, but the problem is you're going to have Drew involved in some fashion or another.
No, I want Drew to come back at the end of the match once Lashley is champion and say, I didn't get my rematch. I'll face you at Fastlane, and then they work it back somehow to Sheamus versus Drew at WrestleMania. That'd be happy. That'd be my ideal world. So Aaron's ideal world.
Well, unfortunately for Aaron's ideal world, I think this is equally as likely. He turns up, he costs Lashley, then they roll out because obviously he's already got a bone to pick with Lashley anyway because Lashley basically made some Miz could win the belt. But here's the thing: triple threat Fastlane. I think that's probably what they're going to go because WWE love their triple threat matches. We touched upon this before. And I think at WrestleMania, you'll get Drew and Lashley.
I really hope not.
But I think that's probably what they're going to do.
We got that at Backlash, and it was just so stale. Even with MVP in his corner, it was stale. And I know MVP and Lashley had only just teamed up at that point, but oh my God, to get it 2 times in a row, to have it main event at WrestleMania. I know WWE like repeating themselves, but at the same time,
yeah, once in a lifetime springs to mind. But
I will skip Mania this year. The way it's shaping out, I'm just not interested.
Right. Here's the other thing as well. The Lashley missed MVP thing. That is not the first time they've been a unit. They were actually together as a unit because it's relevant in Impact Wrestling. MVP was actually with him for a while in that. They were part of a group together.
Yeah.
It's not the first time they've worked together as KCV, but obviously it's in WWE. But since you mentioned the WrestleMania thing, I'm going to mention the AJ Styles thing because it's actually relevant. I suspect AJ Styles has been kept fairly strong, even though he lost in the Chamber match. He was the last person to lose. But you know, so he's booking. He's not really been losing anything.
No, I can see him going for the United States Championship against Riddle. No?
I think he's going to bow down to the game. Afraid so. I think it's Triple H's opponent.
But Triple H hasn't been on TV
It's
or in.
WrestleMania. Trent always wants a match.
Yeah, but
And there's going to
why?
be ads.
Is it like a payment for running NXT? Which I can understand that. He does a hell of a job at NXT, but perform at a
Dad,
takeover, for God's sake.
Dad, I want to wrestle. Dad, I want to be at WrestleMania. There you go.
I'd like him to bring like the authority kind of thing. And no, hear me out. I wouldn't mind it if he brought the authority kind of gimmick to NXT. I'd love to see Triple H versus Balor.
Okay.
That's a match I'd like to see.
No, that's a fair use of him, but I don't think it will happen simply because he'll if he is going to wrestle again, bear in mind his age, he'll want to do WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I don't see him.
Match.
Yeah, I don't see him doing NXT.
No, but I mean, just like part of me kind of thinks if he's gonna like, oh, yeah, I wanna wrestle. Like, what year I'm gonna wrestle?
The thing is,
don't fucking his age.
That's the thing. I think your idea is better, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. That's the problem with it.
No, I don't think it's going to happen either. But I think that would be great to have him do something like that.
Yeah, although I'm not so sure he should be fighting Balor because I think Balor would be a bit too rough for him. And that's nothing against Balor. It's just I don't think at Hunter's age he needs somebody who can actually look after him.
I'd sooner put him in the ring with Balor than Karrion Kross.
True, but you might want to. You may want to look more towards Gargano, who's definitely probably the safest NXT worker, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I guess.
So
I can see where you're coming from there.
I'm not saying Balor isn't, but at the same time, Balor's finishing move involves a double stomp to the chest.
I mean, you could always ask Ciampa.
And Triple H has an issue with pec muscles.
Because Ciampa and Triple H have fought before.
Well, Ciampa's not a bad shout.
I could see that going down a real treat with fans as well, because like obviously Ciampa and Triple H, they're like the same kind of pegging like in their professional careers.
Yeah,
but Ciampa's never going to go up to main roster, so
yeah, it works as well as anything. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of worse ideas. Okay. Yeah. Now, obviously, going back to Raw very quickly, there was also no Damian Priest on the pay-per-view, which I'm not that surprised about. And, of course, him and Bad Bunny. Now, with The Miz holding the world title, what do you think they're doing at WrestleMania?
Yeah, I like the fact that they kind of showed a bit of inkling for Bad Bunny as well, to show that he's actually had a little bit of in-ring training with how he threw the I can't remember who it was Gulak over the top rope.
Yeah,
and even Damian Priest looked a bit surprised, whether or not that was scripted or not, I don't know, but it was a bit like, oh well, hang on, he's got a bit of in-ring presence there.
Yeah, never a bad thing.
But are we gonna touch on the fact that Damian Priest's finisher has had a name change?
Sure.
Because for those of you who know Damian Priest while he was in NXT, his finisher was called The Reckoning.
Yeah, I wonder why they changed it.
And yeah, I wonder why they changed it. It's now called Hit the Lights. Hit the Lights.
It could be worse. With WWE names, that is not the worst thing they could have called it.
Why not call it something like that fits his Archer persona, like the Warped Arrow or something?
You're lucky they didn't call it the Quiver.
I don't mind something like I wouldn't mind it being called something like that, or the Quivering or something.
Right? No, but you know what a quiver is, yes?
Yeah, it's what holds the arrows.
Yeah, so calling it a quivering would make no sense.
Eh,
So,
but it's
'cause
WWE, doesn't need to make sense.
well, it should. I know it doesn't, but it should. And I personally would like to teach WWE better habits than they have.
Okay, just say quivered. You quiver your arrows. They've been quivered. He hits quivered.
Okay, so if he's doing the archer thing, right? You could call it I don't know, the last arrow, dead shot, bullseye. There's a many.
Can't do that shot. Copyright.
You yes, you can for a move name. It's absolutely fine. Copyrights only apply if it was similar. If it was a character, then no. But if you're naming a move after something, then yes, because the move is not the same as the character.
Okay, call it bullseye then.
Yeah, it's a copyright. In copyright, when you apply for a copyright, just to clarify for anyone who is watching and obviously yourself, when you claim copyright, you're claiming copyright for the use of how you're using it. It doesn't claim it for every use of the word.
I did find it funny a couple of times on Raw actually. Samoa Joe slipped up a couple of times, and he doesn't do it often. But he got a bit overexcited, and he called somebody a champ, and he's not a champ, really not a champ, and nobody corrected him either. And I was just like, you mean former?
Okay. One, Jay may think of him as champion. Two, are you really going to try and correct Samoa Joe? Really?
No, but I thought one of the people on the broadcast table would have at least mentioned it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you're either of those commentators, are you really trying to correct Joe? Really? Really?
I mean, Byron's stupid enough. Let him do it. Let's get Byron versus Joe at Mania. Let's do it.
Are you planning a Byron's funeral by any chance?
He does annoy me. I'm not going to lie.
Well, because you know what will happen is Joe is gonna kill you. Joe is gonna kill you.
I'd pay to hear that chant in the Thunderdome. That would be funny. There is an update on Samoa Joe's in-ring return as well.
Yeah, 30-second delay though in the Thunderdome.
This is true.
Oh yes, the Samoa Joe update.
Yeah.
Gonna give it to us.
I'll let you do the honors.
Well, you brought it up, so it's your fault. You do it.
You seem to like Samoa Joe. You do it.
I do like Samoa Joe, but you brought up the subject.
Oh, I can't remember, to be honest, but I know there was an update on Samoa Joe's return.
To be honest, I don't remember what it was. I've had a lot of things to do this week.
I think they said something like 2 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks on recovery. No, that's Kyle O'Reilly. I think 2 to 3 weeks left on his recovery till he's suitable for in-ring competition. But whether or not he's actually brought back into an in-ring competition, obviously another story. Because obviously they're using him on commentating right now. Whether or not they keep him on commentating is another whole thing altogether.
Possibly. That's the thing about stuff like that.
I can't remember off the top of my head how many weeks it was. That's going to bug me.
Yeah, I am going to try and find what the update was, to be perfectly honest, because obviously it got brought up. We'll see what it is. But yeah, I've had a lot of stuff to do this week, so literally a lot of stuff is just not straight to hand, which is kind of annoying. Yeah,
I mean, if we're on the subject of returns and stuff, what about Rhea Ripley's debut? We're looking forward to that on main roster? Yes? No?
No. We're not. Guess why we're not? Ric Flair has a thing for blondes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I had no idea about that. I mean, the whole thing with Lacey Evans just went straight over my head. I've got no idea. Why would he have something to do with blondes? Why would he like blondes? I mean, we could talk about Miss World and stuff like that, but let's not get into that.
Yeah, well, Ric Flair in his heyday, when it comes to wrestling, because I remember Ric Flair's heyday, he was very much a ladies' man. Is probably the best way of putting it.
I mean, his character suited him very well.
No, that's not a character. That is literally him.
That's
the thing about that.
That's exactly what I meant. His character, quote.
Yeah, I am playing a character. Oh wait, no.
He's playing himself.
Well, a lot of the best wrestlers do play themselves, but they just dial it up to like 11 or 12 or something. So they literally just go overkill. So let's just see. Just trying to find out about wrestling time. This is going to be weird because it's like a case of I'm trying to find information about this. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Might actually have an answer now.
Wait.
Right. Basically, from what I can see here, from what this thing says, this says he's cleared. So he is actually fine to wrestle. It's just when they're going to use him. Because at the moment, apparently, they're very happy with him being a commentator.
Yeah.
So this would imply that he is actually clear to wrestle. He's just
on the fence.
Yeah, it's just a case of they're not ready. They haven't got anything for him to do it either, and he's a good commentator. So he's better.
I mean, they can't even really bring him back with a feud with Seth Rollins either because he's on a different show now.
And when does that ever stop WWE doing anything? Wild card invitational.
Yeah, but are they really gonna do the open brand invitational thingy with a commentator?
Well, they've done it with Edge.
Touche.
It's WWE, remember?
True.
Technically, Cena's a free agent as well, so he can go between them both. As his Undertaker.
I wouldn't mind seeing Cena versus Samoa Joe.
Well, go back a very, very long time ago. That actually happened. They actually grew up in the same training thing together. So
yeah,
those little known facts.
They used to train with Big E. Used to train with John Cena as well before he even became Big E in the NXT.
I'm talking way, way before then. This was back in California when Cena was still a bodybuilder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching the Big E 24 documentary about Big E and Big E before.
I believe it's actually up already.
I think it drops tomorrow after Raw, if memory serves me correct.
No, that actually does make sense. So I saw it being dropped. I just didn't notice when it was, but that would make sense because they tend to like dropping things after Raw. So
yeah,
which for our time will be about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, so I'll be watching it Tuesday morning or afternoon, depending whether or not I watch Raw first. Probably I'll watch Raw first. Yeah, definitely going to watch Raw first. Decided.
Well, yeah. Raw is both. Raw can be a punishment, though, so to see how you feel.
I'm just really hoping that I just want the Fiend to come back already. All this build-up is really getting dull as hell.
That right there comes down to something that WWE get accused of all the time is they can't do long-term storytelling because they're bad at booking.
They really can't.
And they can't. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned this before, and I'm going to have to make a direct comparison here, which I'm not going to make a habit of doing. You mentioned at the top of the program, you watched AEW. That is like AEW are very good at doing long-term story booking. WWE are bad at it. They can't do it. They used to be very good at it once upon a time. They were. But WWE seem to have got into their heads that people can only deal with short-term storytelling. It's not the people, it's your inability to keep people engaged for a long period of time.
Or interested.
Yeah. Which other promotions, New Japan's another one, they don't have this issue because they keep their fans engaged in the product.
Yeah, I guess.
So, but I'm more specifically referring to you about the WWE aspect of this. For the viewers, I'm explaining the comparisons because some of these people will at least be familiar with the other two promotions I just mentioned. So they'll have an idea of what I'm talking about. But for us particularly, we are talking about WWE's inability to book long term.
I think one of the only things that kind of like drew my attention was the explosive barbed wire match, and I kind of do want to watch that, and I probably will browse on the highlights.
Used to be
that's to see what it's like.
That's a New Japan thing. That was part of Frontier Wrestling back in the 90s. That's where that comes from, and it's a very dangerous match, and if you're very much a WWE person or if you're very squeamish, probably not for you, is the honest answer. In the words of John Moxley,
I'm not squeamish.
I'm talking to you and also talking to our viewers. If you're squeamish, then it's probably not for you, and that's okay. Not everything is for everybody. If you don't like the sound of it, don't watch it. Nobody's making anyone watch anything.
I just kind of want to know how the explosives are going to work into it.
They explode around the ring at C4.
Yeah, it's piqued my curiosity.
Which is what those sort of things are meant to do. It's like when WWE first introduced Hell in a Cell, nobody had ever seen one before.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, when people have never seen something before, or it's the first time something comes about, people are always a bit curious because they don't know what to expect. And particularly the modern generation wrestling fan, very few of you guys, because you are a lot younger than me, would ever have seen an exploding barbed wired match. Unless you've gone back to find tapes of it, because there've not been any for a long time now.
Oh, just a side thing as well. I know we're still on Raw at the moment, but has anybody actually seen Walter? Like, is he like still on the side of a milk carton? Because it's been, I don't know, 4 months and nobody's seen the guy.
It was on NXT
since
UK.
He fought A-Kid.
He fought Dragunov, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he fought A-Kid afterwards, and
that's not been that long.
Yeah, but he's the UK champion. He's like supposed to.
But NXT UK tape in bulk their shows. That's what that is. It's not like the other stuff where it's taped or aired live. With NXT UK, they tape them in blocks, like Impact Wrestling do. They do the same thing. They literally record a whole set of them, and then they're not there for about a month or 2 months because they've already got their stuff done. Particularly during COVID, that's not the worst idea.
Fair enough.
So, but that's probably what that is. So I'm guessing that he just wasn't scheduled on those shows. He's probably there, but just wasn't shown on camera. And to be fair, the kind of matches Walter has, I'm not sure every wrestler would want to see Walter every week.
No, I mean, part of me's thinking that Imperium may actually get a new member. Because if you saw NXT this past week and you saw the Hatchet Man talking to Killian Dane behind stage, and that was actually quite kind of interesting because obviously they have Sanity in the they have previous with
Wolf.
Sanity, Wolf and Killian.
Yeah, could
Imperium get a fourth member?
Wolf
member.
Well, Wolf was part of Imperium in its original form back when it was in European wrestling, because that faction actually comes over from that. It's not unique to NXT. And that faction's had other members, and I think Dane was once a member of that faction in that incarnation, so it wouldn't be that surprising. And as you mentioned, Wolf and Dane have previous insanity as well.
And also, I could see Killian easily turning on Maverick.
Well, I think everyone turns on Maverick at some point. I think that's just a thing.
Yeah, but I could see him turning on him and joining Imperium. And then we get Imperium versus 5 other random superstars at a War Games match or something.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he joins them, but NXT War Games matches are usually 4 participants at most on each team.
But they've been less before, and they've been more before as well, and they do like to make everything bigger.
Not in WWE, they haven't. In NXT, rather. They've had the tag team. They've not had 5-a-side.
No, they haven't. What I'm saying is they like to make things bigger though, and they've had 3 threes in there before.
Yeah, which was the one I liked the least out of the NXT War Games matches.
Yeah.
Simply because I don't like who won. Yeah, everyone knows I have a thing about the Undisputed Era. I do not like them. I'm glad they're no longer a thing.
I'm liking the way the storyline's going in NXT. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it portrays Adam Cole as a cock, which is what he is, so that's good. That's pretty much.
We didn't brush over the tag team match in Raw on Raw.
Oh no, we'll touch upon everything at this point because we're just going to mix from each show. I think that might be the easiest way to do this. So, but yeah, obviously you got the Cole thing there, but it's a case of as far as Adam Cole goes, I don't care.
I do and I don't, because I did like the whole Undisputed Era thing, but I saw the super kick coming a mile away, and I was just like, yeah, okay, is Adam finally going to get his push that he's kind of been.
The only thing I liked about it was that McAfee's response to it. It's like, see, I told you he's a dick.
Yeah.
Because that works for McAfee. That's exactly the response he should give you there.
Mm-hmm. There's the glorified, I told you so.
Yeah. And as a heel, that's what you should do.
Yep.
So I was quite happy about that. That at least served a purpose for someone who I find genuinely interesting. I don't necessarily like him, but he's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the thing Cole does not have. I don't find him interesting.
No.
I may not necessarily like certain wrestlers, but if you can keep me interested, or at least show me something, then I'm more likely to indulge what you're doing.
I guess.
So, because we all have our favourites. So, for an example, but there are some wrestlers who, if they're doing something I find interesting, then I might just give it a look, even if it's something I wouldn't necessarily watch normally. But it depends what it is. That's the thing. And in this instance, Adam Cole, I don't find engaging enough to actually give a shit about.
No.
And that's an issue for me. I care about Kyle O'Reilly because I think Riley's much better off without that bollocks.
I agree to disagree with you on that one.
Which is fair enough. Again, my opinion. And the thing about opinions, people, and this applies to everyone listening as well, you can have your own opinions. It's okay. We do not have to agree. If people want to tell me why their opinions are what they are, if they want to tell me why they think mine are wrong, that's okay too. Doesn't mean I'm going to change my mind, but I'm open to for people to give me information to see possibly why I may change my mind or I may be wrong. Or it may even reinforce I'm right. But yeah, either way, open to hearing to what people think. Unlike WWE booking. Because they're only out hearing the faults of one person, and that's such scared shit.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It is an audience of one, after all.
Indeed, indeed.
We just have to put up with stuff. So,
Yep.
but yes, she was going to talk about the Raw tag match.
No, I wasn't actually. I was actually going to talk about the women's tag match where Oscar lost a tooth.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That was on Raw, right?
Yeah, I thought you said championship match.
No, the women's match on Raw, the tag match.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Sorry.
Yeah, thoughts?
Well,
ouch.
The thing is,
I've seen the replay, so
tooth being knocked out of a wrestler's mouth is not an unusual thing. It's actually quite regular. If you want to see a really brutal tooth thing, people go check out what happened to Cesaro.
Oh, I remember watching that.
Right.
Oh,
or the Jerry Mercury spot in the ladder match he had. Trust me, both of those you can find those on the network. They're both as bad as each other, and nowhere near. And what happened to Oscar? I'm sure it hurt, but it was nowhere near as bad as either of those.
No. Oh my god! Ouch!
Yeah.
Dentist, please.
Oh yes. Very much so. It's not a pleasant thing.
No.
So, but I mean, it's a tooth. Fortunately, you can normally get them if you can find it. You can put it back, or you can get one replaced. It's not the worst injury you can have. It's just not very pleasant to be hit and have a tooth go flying.
I mean, bless her. She did. Cover her face until the segment was over, and didn't show any of the blood or anything. She took it like a champ, as a real professional.
It's what I'd expect from Oscar, not being funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, if that was probably like the majority of the Raw roster, they'd have like gone absolutely mental about it. Could you imagine if Miz lost a tooth on air?
Yeah, I think Baszler would have taken it quite well as well, to be fair.
Oh yeah, I got no doubts about that. Like, especially in her background, she's used to losing a lot worse than teeth.
There were some of the Raw wrestlers who I could see doing similar to what Oscar did, like Lashley, McIntyre, those kind of guys. Yeah, Baszler, as I mentioned, definitely. But yeah, most people would flip a lid. You mentioned Miz. I think Miz would go mental because obviously his looks are kind of important for what he does.
Yeah.
So it would not be fun at all.
Nope.
But obviously we've brushed upon Raw, brushed upon NXT and NXT UK. You haven't really mentioned SmackDown though.
No, I was waiting until last because obviously I've been doing it in order as much as possible. That's me.
Yeah. Other thing just to mention about Raw, obviously the main thing is obviously Miz and Lashley. It was divulged that they're going to have a match and it's going to be next week. Already touched upon what I think is going to happen with that. So that was the major thing for that.
I mean, what we want to happen and what's going to happen is probably two very different things.
Yeah. You also had Retribution sort of screw up a match, and I think basically they're going to end up turning on Ali next week because I think that's just what's going to happen. Because he keeps yelling.
I'd like it if they do.
No payoff.
I'm really getting tired of Ali being used because of that. I don't like it.
Yeah, it needs to go away.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping that they'd like carry on until the next draft, and then Ali gets ripped from Retribution. I'd just be happy for them to work it like that. But at the same time, the way that it ended this week on Raw was just no.
Yeah, they need to all be split up and then put back in their gimmicks as what they were, because this has not helped anyone.
No, it's not. It really hasn't.
So
it's made the majority of them worse. Let's face it.
Yeah, Damian Priest had to change his finisher move. One of the members was so put by the idea, they ran straight back to NXT. I think she was the smart one.
Just a bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a bit.
And
mean, she was a powerhouse. She was a force to be reckoned with on NXT. Then to go up to the main roster and have to wear a mask and change your name?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel sorry, a lot more sorry for the women in Retribution than I do the men. Because some people out there, they still don't know that Dijakovic is underneath the mask of T-Bar. And I'm just like, hello?
Do you know who I feel really sorry for out of that whole faction? Shameful. For some reason, they called him
so many
Slapjack.
memes. So many memes, so little time.
Considering that word has two meanings, and neither one of them are particularly good.
And like the heat that he got from CM Punk about the masks that they've made him wear as well.
Yeah.
When you get bored in catering, and there's a picture of a smiley face on a paper plate, and it's next to Slapjack. I was like, oh my god, CM Punk's a comedic genius. But at the same time, for fuck's sake, that was a half decent wrestler when it was NXT.
Do you know what's really bad about that? Is the mask that Punk put up was better than the one WWE gave him.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
That tells you everything you need to know about how much they give a shit about Retribution right there.
So if we end up getting anywhere with this podcast, I'm just gonna have to get like a t-shirt with my hand like that. That's just gonna be like in the middle of the t-shirt.
Oh, well, here I was thinking you was going to make a Slapjack mask.
How much I get.
Well, we could always just have a Daniel Bryan gives a fucko-meter.
Wait, we can't see it. Oh yeah, that's the point.
Yeah. Because, but yeah, they just need to just put them back.
Yeah, just like make like saltwater fish and throw the fuckers back already.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it before. Mia Yim could be so much better.
I feel
in
sorry
the
for
division. Just put her in a women's division.
I feel so sorry for the women of Retribution. I mean, Mercedes Martinez got out while the game was good, but Mia Yim's been in there now. She came back this week as well. That was me hoping she was going to go back to NXT as Mia Yim, and we was all going to forget about Reckoning, but no, she's back on main roster. Just like,
no. The reason she was absent, for those who don't know, is she came into close contact with somebody who had COVID, so she had to isolate. That's why she.
Yeah, I was aware of that, but at the same time, I was secretly hoping that she was going back to NXT.
So was she. That would be my guess.
I think Keith Lee probably was as well.
Well, I think Keith Lee just wants her to bask in his glory, but that's behind the curtain. That's between those two. So yeah.
Yeah, what was the name of it? Yimitless.
There's way too many jokes that can be made, and I imagine that's maybe he'd ask her to keep the mask. But anyway, well, it depends what his kink is, I guess.
Daddy, sorry.
Don't. Yeah, that's too much like Ric Flair's gimmick at the moment. Let's not do that.
Indeed.
I think Charlotte's has enough nightmares about that. The rest of us don't need that nightmare either.
Last thing Charlotte needs is another stepmom. Let's face the facts here.
Well, last thing Charlotte actually needs is another world title reign, which apparently is going to come her way from the sounds of it. Yeah, because the feeling is apparently she's going to turn on Asuka, and then basically they're going to have.
Oh, I called that from day one.
Most people called that from the moment that Charlotte Flair was born.
As soon as Charlotte's music hit, like when Asuka said that she found a partner to tag with when they first faced the tag team champions, I was like, oh wait, great, we're gonna get Oscar versus Charlotte at Mania Part 2. Wow. Yeah. Mm.
Which I don't think that. Here's the thing: I don't think that's going to happen. I think what will happen is they'll face each other at Fastlane. Charlotte will win, then Charlotte will face Rhea Ripley at Mania. Which the Rhea facing Charlotte thing.
I wouldn't be that unhappy about it, to be honest.
That's the thing. The Rhea Charlotte match at Mania sounds okay. I just don't like the fact it's at Oscar's expense.
I mean, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I wouldn't be unhappy about it either, being as Oscar got handed the title instead of the Money in the Bank briefcase so long ago, and that seems such a long time ago now.
And do you know why it seems that way? Because they've booked her like crap.
Yeah, and like, let's face it, since she came up to main roster, she has been booked like crap.
Well, with the women's divisions in WWE, unless you're Charlotte or Becky, they don't give a shit.
I mean, with Oscar's reputation throughout NXT, you really hoped that she was going to be added to those two names. But
this is the NXT thing again, because you were this way in NXT. Once you get the main roster, you don't get that. Keep that crap.
I was so disheartened when I found out that Oscar was coming up to main roster. I was like, we're going to lose one of the best things that's been about in NXT, just to have it put on main roster and fucked with, and that's exactly what's happened.
Well, if you're going to get onto indictments of WWE main roster booking, it's the fact that Ember Moon and Finn Balor are both back in NXT.
I'm happy that Ember's back in NXT.
Oh, I'm sure they both are, but it shows you
really
how
happy for Finn as well.
Yeah, but it shows you how bad the main roster is, where they're both much better off in NXT.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for Cross versus Balor. I know we know it's going to happen eventually, but I'm looking forward to that match.
You mean Killer?
Yeah.
I'm not calling him Carrion because that's a dumb name for him.
Yeah.
Because WWE don't like using words that imply murder, essentially. But it's Killer Cross.
Carrion birds carry the dead flesh from dead bodies.
They eat the dead.
Yeah, they eat the dead.
Yeah, but that's different. It's not the act of murder. So
no, it's scavenging off of something that's already been killed or murdered. But
which apparently is fine, but just the act of actually doing it. So Carrion's fine, but no, you can't be Killer.
Down, Killer. You can't be Killer. I mean, your wife looks pretty killer on a weekly basis, not gonna lie. Like Scarlett, and that's a good thing for NXT.
That right there is NXT's biggest mistake. Scarlett Bordeaux.
Why?
What is she doing in NXT? That's my problem with it. That's why it's a mistake. That woman, if you've ever seen her wrestle, and I have, she is bloody good. Why the hell is she not wrestling?
I have seen clips, and like she's some of the stuff that I've seen, there's magic, but like I can see why they're doing that.
It makes no sense.
Like the manager's side of things.
Yeah, but she can do both.
I'm hoping that soon down the line, Johnny Gargano is going to face Carrion for a title. Could be the North American title that they've got right now. Candice LeRae is going to slap Carrion. And Carrion's just going to look at Scarlett and go, and Scarlett's going to get involved, and we're going to start seeing her wrestle.
Oh, he wouldn't have to tell Scarlett. Scarlett would just hit her anyway, because the minute because this is a pattern's happened before when they've been a unit, Scarlett and Killer. Back in other promotions, is whenever women used to attack Killer, he wouldn't have to say anything. Scarlett should be straight on them.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah,
Terry gets the North American title out of it. I'm all for it. I mean, the way he beat the crap out of Santos Escobar this week, I loved every single minute of that match.
I think pretty much everyone liked the fact Escobar got his butt kicked, so I think there's that.
Yeah.
But as I said, me personally, I want to see Scarlett wrestle.
Yeah,
it's a waste.
I'd like to see her wrestle, and I actually think Candice LeRae would be the perfect person for Scarlett to really show her stuff with.
Well, to be fair, NXT's women division, there's a lot of people that Scarlett would be good wrestling against. So
yeah, you know that it's not going to.
They're just not using her.
They're not going to put her straight into title contention, though. And I think where Candice LeRae is, she's like mid-card at the moment because she's on screen every week because obviously she's with Gargano. But at the same time, she's not like low pecking order.
Yeah, but you've also got like Indy Hartwell and a few other lower down women where she could have matches against them. That's fine too.
Yeah, if she could work her way through the way, if you pardon the pun, she could go for Indy first if she really wanted to, and then go for. Well, actually, no, I don't see that happening. I did like the segment this week where Indy was kind of entranced by Dexter Loomis. That made me laugh. I liked that. That was funny.
Oh, you mean the serial killer Sam Shaw?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the TNA name for Dexter Loomis when he was a serial killer.
Yeah, not the tortured artist that he is now.
Yeah. So, but I think Dexter Loomis for people is either people like him or they don't. I mean, I don't mind one way or the other because simply put, as long as he's entertaining, it's fine. But there's a limited life as to what you can do with a character like that unless you can flush it out more. Essentially, he has the same issue that would have affected The Undertaker if The Undertaker hadn't figured out ways to keep his character fresh.
I mean, I put a shout out on Instagram. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, saying like chilling, watching NXT, and enjoying seeing my favorite wrestler doing his thing, and tagged Dexter Loomis in it, and he actually liked because obviously it sends like when you mention somebody, it sends them a thing of it.
Yeah,
he actually liked my thing on Instagram when I was actually well chuffed. I was just like, oh my god, I didn't expect anything like back. It's like even a like for me, it's just like, oh my god, yay! So it made the fan in me smile because like, a lot of wrestlers don't bother.
Yeah, but there are several that do, and yeah, in that instance, that's one little click, but that's made somebody probably really happy.
Yeah,
as you've just demonstrated right there. So, but for the most part, usually with a lot of the wrestlers, as long as you're respectful, people they're generally fine with you. There's a few of them who are very narky, and there's a couple of them who I just wouldn't approach on social media because you know you're going to get bitch slapped.
I mean, you don't want to approach them in social media, and you just don't want to approach them in person either. 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, could you imagine approaching T-Bar on social media at the moment?
Oh, I'd do that just for the laughs.
Oh yeah. Please do that and put a screenshot up on the podcast next week. Ask him to be a special guest. See what he replies.
Well, I could ask him to come on, but I could say, well, you know, if you come on, you wouldn't be just T-Bar. You would be the bar. And I'll see if he baits him enough to make a comment.
I think that might actually.
Yeah, that's why.
Do it.
But there's a lot. There's a lot of things I can think of. I can. It means spending time on Twitter, and I don't like Twitter. Twitter's horrible.
I think anybody likes Twitter except Twitterers.
Even them, I'm not so sure they like it either.
They just do it for the attention.
I think it's what everyone uses Twitter for, in all honesty, and to try and cancel people. Is my opinion of that.
Well, it is what it is.
Not in that instance. That's a thing that needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that needs to go, really, I don't like Rollins' whole Vision gimmick. The Vision.
You're not the first person I've heard say this, and I can't say I have a problem with even anyone saying that because it's not good.
It's really not good. But I did love how Cesaro swinged him all the way around the ring. That was probably one of the best Cesaro swings I've seen in quite a while. And how fast he was going as well. I was really happy. I was just like, okay, I can get into this. I was just like, yeah, I just want to hit replay real quick and watch it again. It's the fact he had the microphone in his hand as well. It's just like, this is inner child of me. I was just like, brilliant. Carry on. Keep going.
The thing with that move, though, the minute I've seen him do that to the Great Khali and to the Big Show, and the minute you see that, you know he can do it to anybody. And it makes you so happy to realise, yay!
And you know, the smaller the guy, the longer he's going to last doing it as well, because obviously they're not as heavy.
Just imagine Rey Mysterio. It'd be like a spinning top.
I think he did that in the Royal Rumble, but he had to drop him and then pick somebody else up, which was, I was just like, oh, for crying out loud, Rey.
That's a Royal Rumble match, so, you know, you're never going to get the time to do it in a Rumble match.
No. Well, I mean, they're on the same show, so I was seeing Cesaro versus Rey. I'd be up for that just to see how long he'd swing Rey. I mean, because Cesaro doesn't get dizzy because he's got that, he's got. It's not something wrong with him. It's just it's something about him. He doesn't get dizzy. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a trick to it. I actually know this because I can do it myself. Basically, when you're going to spin around like, you literally have to focus on lock and not go around with the swing. It's a hard thing to explain, but literally you can rotate round but keep your vision locked, and as long as you do that, you won't get dizzy. So the minute you stop, you've still got your balance and your focus. But it takes learning.
I mean, you can see it in his face when he's doing it. He's just got his eyes, and they're like dead straight. Like it looks like Luke. It kind of looks like Brody Lee's 1,000-yard stare they used to do as part of the Wyatt family. But like,
it's
R.I.P. Brody Lee.
It's you're locking onto a particular thing. And that's what it's saying, because he's only got a lock on that and he's not trying to look around. Because the mistake people usually make when they spin is they try looking everywhere. That's going to screw up your balance, and that's what's going to make you dizzy. And that's, I think, why he doesn't. But getting back to Seth, I thought the best way Seth Rollins should have come back. He should have come back as overbearing dad. Basically, he should have been like, I'm so happy to be a father. I'm the best father. And he should literally be trying to be really overly telling people advice and stuff and be very annoying, because Seth's very good at being annoying.
Yeah.
And I think that would work for him, being like, yeah, me and Becky, we took the baby, and we was so the best parents.
I mean, you could tell how he can be so annoying by how much of a big fanboy he is.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the Legends nights in the past, and like some of like Raw 25, especially. If you're not down with that, then we got 2 words for you. It's like, fanboy in the ring, people. Fanboy in the ring.
Yeah, if you're not down with it, we got 2 words for you: future endeavor.
Yeah. Or the Vision. He could start doing that if he really wanted to. And if you're not down with that, then I got 2 words for you: the Vision.
Yeah, I still think overbearing dad would be much better than the Vision.
Anything would be better than the Vision. When his music hit and it said "burn it down," I was like, "Oh my god, are we gonna get face Steph?" And then I saw the Messiah thing. I was like, "The Vision." Oh no!
I think what happened was during his time off, he spent too much time watching Disney Plus, and he saw WandaVision.
Yeah. The fact that it's all red as well just kind of like brings that full circle.
Yeah. It's where that joke comes from. But they need to do something with that, because it's not working.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite happy with the way SmackDown ended. Like, all in all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we had more about Daniel Bryan and the cage match we referred to earlier.
I mean, I like the fact that it was a double count out. the match as well, because that kind of, I mean, the possibility of having a triple threat match at Fastlane, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. I mean, that kind of triple threat match would be quite interesting.
There is, but you also have the X factor of obviously Jimmy being, well, essentially fit again to actually partake, because Jimmy Uso's been cleared since what, beginning of February at this point. So there's a possibility that he might even get involved in something like that. So then you'd have 3 against 1 essentially.
Yeah. I mean, that's what kind of like got me interested in it, because I was just like, I wasn't expecting a double count out. I was expecting a disqualification. I was expecting Roman Reigns to interfere.
That wouldn't have been out of the question.
I wasn't expecting. I was expecting a double count out, because I'd like to see whether or not they actually open up the idea of, well, Daniel didn't win, so he can't have his opportunity. Jey didn't win, so he couldn't get his opportunity. Maybe we should just call it a triple threat match for Fastlane and see who gets momentum leading up to it. But then now they've booked this steel cage match, and just like, okay, well, we're probably going to get Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at Fastlane then.
Yeah, and to be honest though, I wouldn't be upset by either possibility if it was a triple threat or if it was Daniel against Roman. Neither one of those is a bad thing.
I mean, I'd be quite happy with Edge versus Daniel Bryan at Mania.
Well, depending on who wins the match between Bryan and Roman, there's always a chance of that happening, because you could always end up with Daniel actually beating Roman and then ended up fighting Edge at WrestleMania. There's always that possibility.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't think it's likely, because I think they'll want to keep Roman with the belt.
Yeah.
But again, neither one of those is a bad option. Daniel having a belt is a good thing. Roman having a belt is a good thing. Either way, it works. This is an instance where WWE booking actually works. Imagine such a world.
Well, I'm gonna actually have to leave now, because I've not eaten, and my food has just arrived.
No, I mean, we've pretty much covered most of the stuff we were going to anyway, so that's actually quite good. So we've actually just got to SmackDown, which was the last thing we went to cover anyway. So,
yeah.
Is there anything particularly you want to cover before you do skedaddle?
Oh, shout out to the brand new NXT UK tag team champions, Pretty Deadly. If you didn't see the tag team championship match, it was actually pretty good. It was a good throwback to British wrestling, to be honest, as far as tag team matches go. But I was kind of shocked that they let them have the belts, because I didn't see it coming, to be honest. It was quite a shock for me. So yeah, shock of the week, Pretty Deadly, brand new tag team champions.
Well,
after a very stellar reign from Gallus.
Well, occasionally you get those sort of things happen. I think they're more likely than in NXT UK, to be perfectly honest, because it's away from the main WWE influence.
But I can see that happening. And if it wasn't for COVID and everything, I could see Gallus coming up to NXT instead of NXT UK, because they haven't got really anybody else to face right now.
Well, that would also
now, if they don't get a rematch for the tag team titles, then I can see them coming over to the US and isolated for 2 weeks, and then just coming onto the NXT roster and beating the crap out of somebody random as a debut, because that's what they like to do.
It's a possibility, but there might end up being like Walter, because Walter does not want to go to the US full time. So there's always a possibility they just want to stay in NXT UK, of course. But
from what I've heard, there's already been talk of Gallus coming to the US. Triple H wants them in the US, and I've got no idea why, but that's what I've heard.
Well, I don't necessarily think that's wrong, but it's obviously something to bear in mind. It's not everyone would want to go over that. I mean, as mentioned, Walter doesn't want to go, and Ciampa doesn't want to go to the main roster, for example. So there's always a possibility you'll have a wrestler who'll be happy where they are and don't want to go. Doesn't mean it's them, of course. They may want to go, and good luck to them if they go, because they will need it more importantly than anything.
Yeah.
The way that stuff tends to go. But if they're going to just main NXT, then they're probably not going to be so badly off because they tend to treat the NXT UK wrestlers quite well. Pete Dunne springs to mind.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm just waiting for Pete Dunne to make his debut on the main roster.
I think you'll be waiting a long time for that.
Yes and no. Depends whether or not he gets the NXT Championship first. Because I want him to go after Gargano.
He's not a Vince guy. So I think Pete Dunne's going to be waiting. Or I think Gargano might have the same issue.
Yeah.
And as we both know, Ciampa ain't going. So yeah. Anyway, so is there anything else you want to bring up before you do disappear?
Nope, that was my last bit. I've thrown away my idiot ball for this week because I've been taking notes as I've been watching each of the things, so that way I don't forget what I wanted to talk about.
Not a bad thing, so always good thing to do. Because
I came prepared. The whole side of an envelope.
It's not a bad thing to do. So obviously, in that case, we're pretty much done for this episode. Obviously, people, let us know if you have any opinions or comeback or influences. We will go on.
I did have one thing to say. This is completely non-related to WWE. We raised £80 this month for the LGBT Foundation. Wanted to thank anybody that donated.
That's the Karen McCullough stuff. We were going to get onto that, so you've done it now, so that's good though. So
sorry.
Yay! This is a good thing.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. You just did it earlier. That's all. We were still going to do it. So the fact you did
I thought we was literally just about to say goodbye. So I was just like, oh yeah, before.
Oh no, we were going to touch upon that because obviously that's quite a big deal. So I think it's a good thing. So you have that now. Do you want to tell everyone what the next month's one's going to be? Because by the time people get to, a lot of people will get to hear this, it'll be next month's.
So yeah, the next month or tomorrow is.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Is for the Epilepsy Society, and I am going purple for the entire month. So yeah, and it's all in aid of the Epilepsy Society.
What, the whole body?
No, my hair, dyeing it completely purple. Yeah, I'm going to be rocking the Barney look.
See, because you didn't say what was going purple, that's why I asked. Because that way the viewers will know what you mean by I'm going purple, because they might envision Willy Wonka stuff where you turn yourself purple.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, this month's been fun. Bit annoying at times, especially when my friend played that song that goes "I'm blue dum dee dum da," because I didn't realize that song had the word blue 86 times in the lyrics. Yeah,
so because the thing is, to me, the first few times that was a thing, I was like, it's amusing to have slip in some color references. But after a while, I just thought there's no point in doing it artificially. Just let it happen in the atmosphere. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like eye-opening how many times you actually say colours in a day. So it's like, I didn't even realise how many times like people said red or stuff. If I'm honest, the one colour that people don't really say a lot is purple, which I'm kind of glad for because I didn't have to strip in front of anybody. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's not a common colour, which ironically will be tomorrow.
Well, it's a lot of people's favourite colour.
Yeah, but you're going to have purple hair from tomorrow. So people will actually be saying purple.
Yeah, I just have to remember not to take my clothes off.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea, especially.
Yeah, I've gotten into the like the habit of like every time one of the colours is said, just doing it and like not even thinking about it. Like I heard somebody having a conversation with another person on the other side of Morrison's earlier, and they said, "Oh, yeah, I really like that Red Label stuff," and I just went, and they weren't even talking to me. So they must have just thought I was a right loony.
Well, to be fair, it's where the place where you are is that's not going to be a big problem.
No, not at all.
So
Nope.
that's all I'm saying. So, but obviously, yes, people carry my colours, raising money for the charities. Check them out. I will put links in down there at various points.
I'm also going to be taking suggestions for other charities to represent as well, because I'm getting started on drawing up for the next few charities that I'll be adding to the list. Because for those of you who don't know, I've decided I'm not going to uni, and I've decided that I'm going to carry on with the Carry McCullers thing and just represent as many charities as I can.
Cool. So yeah, guys, let us know. We'll also source the poll. We'll source something and obviously remind people on Wednesday if you're available. Wednesday, of course.
Yeah, will be.
For sorting stuff, because obviously that will be the next time you probably see us two. Will be then. So, well, it's not the next time you'll see me, but it's the next time you see us two on the same thing. So that'll be Wednesday. You guys will see me again actually tomorrow evening when I do the sports show, which should be fun because I get to rant about things, a certain thing I don't particularly like, but that's not relevant here. Obviously, we've been 50-50 booking, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. And we'll see how we go from the next episode, which we will sort out when that will be and let you guys know, and we'll have fun with that. So it's time to go get some food for Aaron, and it's time for me to go get more coffee because I want coffee.
Yeah, that's a surprise.
Well, to be fair, it's coffee, and it's also, as people should know me by now, it's also chocolate. So
I'm surprised it's not a Mars bar.
That's cheaper. And I can get lots of them for less money, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, Morrison's at the moment have got an offer on all their 4 packs of chocolate bars. Just bear that in mind.
Yeah, so people in the UK, that's good for you. People outside the UK, I'm sorry, but you guys probably don't have one.
No.
Anyway, so we'll see you guys later. So I'll give you guys all a wave, and I will see you tomorrow night, and we'll both see you again Wednesday, and obviously the next one of these. So see you guys later. Bye bye.